Mike's too far away. What up? Okay, so I saw something really exciting, and in case you're just like me who never actually checks Bitwig's website, even though you strongly use Bitwig, they just announced something today, I believe, where Bitwig 2 is coming. It will be early 2017, which in my opinion, if you're going to say early 2017, that means by like the start of April by the latest that this DAW will come, like beginning of April, which is cool. So it looks like they have quite stuff coming, which is good because they've basically been doing fuck all for like the past year. Like there's just been nothing significant coming to Bitwig in the past year. Like they did an update with like groups, and then like some stuff for people who do like launchpad stuff, like just a little bit, kind of like summer, like no, not even like springtime last year, and then like that was it. And they added groups I think before then actually. So there's really actually been nothing. So they're going to be adding like ridiculous visual aspects, which is amazing, because for the longest time, like my biggest complaint of Bitwig has like easily been, is that the EQ in Bitwig never had a spectrum, and like there wasn't very many options. Basically, you have like oscilloscope and then like EQ, right? So these basically just like, this had no spectrum, and this oscilloscope just like has this one view, which is fine. And then like, you know, sidechain has like they all have their basic views or whatever. There was nothing super cool about the visual aspect to this DAW, which is weird because it looks so like physically appealing, or like visually appealing, and like even have these cool zoom options. This is like one of the only DAWs that has like high detail retina support. And I kind of want to bump this up to 250. I want it to be a little fatter, because I really want to like, because like, oh, if I get used to this, because like if I have EQ spectrum and stuff, that'll be super cool. Or maybe this is a bit too big, but like, yeah, for the longest time, like they haven't had like EQ spectrum supports or anything. So there's a few new things we can look at here. I haven't read these yet, and I'm not gonna pretend like I know exactly what's happening, but this is basically just to get everyone's attention onto this new thing that's coming. Sad part is there will be money involved to get Bitwig 2. Looks like they've fixed their educational discount a little bit here, but I went to the web shop on accident. I think I was just trying to buy now and get Bitwig Studio for 2. I think it's kind of silly that like I don't get Bitwig for free. I've had this DAW for a long time, when they were starting off especially. Let's look at this first, because this seems to be the biggest problem. So I guess maybe I'll read this aloud. So, alongside the announcement of Bitwig Studio 2, we are also introducing a new license model. Starting with a new release of Bitwig Studio 2, you'll get 12 months of free upgrades and updates with your purchase. This also includes email support. After 12 months, you can renew your upgrade plan. Attractive and affordable prices. And then there's like questions here. I heard it's somewhere around $100 for a year. That's, I mean, they can complain about it all you want, but like they are offering you services and updates. It is fair, but however, we're so privileged as to think like companies like FL Studio, like unlimited free time updates, like that is a privileged thing to have, and it's amazing that ImageLine does that. But like most DAWs don't really want to do that. Like they deserve the money that they're working to make basically for new software. Like once you buy the DAW, you bought the DAW. I've bought Bitwig. I haven't spent any money on it in like 2 years. Like So to be fair, like I would be okay with sending them, giving them like $100 more to continue using their DAW, especially for like crazy new features, and like constant bug fixes. I am okay with that personally. And then, why will this upgrade plan be better than our previous model? We will be able to release key features as they are ready instead of holding them back for major releases. That is also another very important thing of paying for updates, is they'll be more inclined to totally throw out their stuff immediately if they're getting constant like money, because what happens is when they need to do big releases is they kind of need to like gather their funds and then like keep working on something, and then they have it all released at once. Whereas if people are constantly like, if yet people have to put in money specifically for updates, they now have a totally separate fund from like their buying fund, mainly for people who have owned this DAW for so long. This enables us to offer, additionally, if you're a new customer, you won't need to worry about potential upcoming releases when buying license, because you'll get a complimentary 12 months with it. So the renewal, yep, here it is. It is, I said this, it's kind of pretty tough, but like it includes the upgrade plan includes all updates and upgrades, also major ones released during the time period. So I'm assuming that basically per time you buy this, it will be for 12 months. I'm assuming you could expect about 10, like at least one update a month and one major update. So basically 169 USD or 160 euros will cover you for like, it basically will upgrade you to like from Bitwig like 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 or whatever, and then it will get you all those little bug fixes, and then any like minor additions they make to the DAW. Can I continue using software when the upgrade plan expires? Obviously, yes, you can. It's not a subscription for the actual DAW like silly people like Pro Tools have. It's just for updates. So if you want the newest content, you get it. And what's nice is like, unlike Cubase, you get Cubase 8.5 to 9. You're not going to get the 9.5 without paying money for it. Whereas here, you get like Bitwig 2. You will get Bitwig 2.5, maybe not 3. Depends on when they release it. They'll probably wait for the 12 months to be up before they do it though. Or when most, so they can maximize their profits. But you get a little more in this situation here. So instead of just buying an upgrade, you buy like a year of upgrades, which I think is pretty revolutionary in this situation. And then obviously you can wait to renew your license at any time. And then, so it sounds like here that it's not going to be some silly scam, or like where companies are like, they'll charge you like a this happens all the time on various things, but basically anything you have like a monthly subscription on, you get charged like a certain day. Sometimes it might be before the day, sometimes it might be later. It's usually, in my experience, it's never on the actual day they say they're going to bill you or whatever. And then they always have this policy like, oh, once we bill you for your month or whatever, you can't get a refund. And then, so like what I like about this is they tell you a month beforehand when it runs out. They will not automatically renew it. You have to physically go to the page and buy it again. Like, you can't just have it renewed, which is super cool. So this is the big thing that's coming, is the cost. This will also help fight torrenting and piracy a lot, which is very good for like the strength of the Bitwig community. Is this will hopefully destroy any piracy, and piracy has been quite knocked down already for DAWs specifically, but for Bitwig still has like a higher kind of torrency because it is kind of easy to torrent it. But like hopefully with these updates here, it will help bring down torrency problems, and then even then they're going to be making extra money, so then they can help fight against that with security, and then in turn better strengthen the software with updates because they're getting the money they deserve and people will be more inclined to buy it. Alright, so we have some cool things here. So like for example in Bitwig now, if I have like EQ, nope, that wasn't what I wanted, say dynamics processors, and you have a sidechain FX and you put it in here, I think what they're gonna do now is have it so when I do this, there'll be a minimized view of like my EQ in the sidechain effects, and then they'll basically have a bunch of crap down there nested, like, because they do nesting, but they'll have visual nesting now. So now it's hidden. You can just kind of see like, okay, cool. But like, I think now they're gonna have some sort of support maybe when you hover over it to show that your devices maybe actively moving is what I see kind of right here, is I can actually see the devices I have nested in my part, which is cool. But let's read this. So from the beginning, the idea of modularity has been central to Bitwig Studio. While digital audio workstations are known for taking modular approach, creating Bitwig Studio from ground up allowed us to rethink previous assumptions. This led to a focus not just individual devices, but strengthening the ways they interact and support with one another. Blah blah. Interesting, friendly unit. I'm reading fast because I don't want this video to be hours long. Sorry. So nested devices chains. The first outcome was nested device chains, which allow you to house the devices within other devices. A seemingly simple benefit of this is that device presets can now contain multiple devices, but this has also opened up a novel of signal routing possibilities. And then like an example, what if any device or plugin could be in a multiband configuration, or if it was easy to add effects just to the wet signal, or if devices could be added to a feedback loop. The core principle of the modularity is different users with different wants and needs can use the same tools in equally accessible and unique ways. Yes, that's good. So they still have that, obviously. So this is the Bitwig Studio 1 explanation of this. So modulation sources, another powerful outcome. Modulation, you know, like when I do this all the time, when I do LFO mod and then take my tool and then put tool in here and then use it to like modulate something like the amplitude, like so, and then like that's a thing I do. That's basically what this is talking about, is you have these tools, or even like audio mods or arpeggiators and stuff like that, and then audio mod lets you affect like one source signal by one audio's like the amplitude of one audio, that basically your device input will affect various parameters of something else, such as like I could put tool in here, could essentially make a compressor, come in here, do things, hook up this mod to the amplitude here now, and then when I send audio in here, it'll affect this amplitude accordingly, so I could essentially make my own compressor. Yeah, so modulators in Bitwig Studio 2, this is probably the more important part. The idea of modulators has been reclaimed in Bitwig Studio 2. Instead of using a standalone modulator device to modulate a single device, each device now has slots that can house true modulators. This means any device or plugin you are using can now have an envelope added to some of its parameters, or a stepper or audio sidechain effect, or 12 LFOs, a lot of LFOs. This modularity dictates how you use the tools, is completely up to you. So again, this is going to be more CPU efficient, and say to user can now add and subtract these options as they see fit. So it sounds like you can like make, sounds like to me, you can kind of like make there's going to be like some sort of plugin where you can actually build this little tiny tile of like modulators. And maybe that's what this is actually. Like, cause this looks like a key tracking. Oh, no way. This looks like a key tracking modular. So maybe if we look at Drum Machine, how I have these little squares, I think you could have something like this, and each square could be like your own modular device, and actually put a bunch of modular devices in here, and then somehow have them route or affect things. Because this kind of looks like basically a drum pad or whatever, and then it's got like types of amplitude curves that you can edit more in depth if you click on them, but then you have like a modulation routing option, so that looks kind of cool. And then I guess maybe we can oh, there's some other features that we can talk about. So maybe I want to find the video. I hope I don't get in trouble for like content stealing, but I'll talk about the video as I go through, so hopefully it's not entirely content stealing. As you can see already, there's some differences to how things look like is the knobs already look pretty clean inside Bitwig, but now it looks like the knobs have a little more of a sleek, prettier, like kind of FL Studio style look to them, which is cool. So let's watch this. I'll turn down the volume a bunch. Can you even hear my system audio? Probably not. Oh, we don't need audio. It's just playing. It's just playing audio. They don't talk about anything, so it's fine. Can I full screen? I can only full screen at YouTube. No, you can't hear that. So yeah, it's a video by Bitwig showing their stuff. All right, hang on one moment. Let's get max resolution, just so it doesn't get like worse. All right, so here we go. Bitwig Studio announces. So, all right, let's take a look at this page here. So as we can see, it looks a little much the same, but there has been differences made to the top portion of the screen. You can now see the nice Bitwig logo. The drop-down menus look much nicerly integrated. It looks like there's actually a project tab at the I'm sorry, but like the YouTube junk is in the way here. But it looks like underneath this, there's actually, I can see a little X button. This looks like the tab now where you would keep your projects instead of in the top right corner near the X button. Like we have some, like the basic options, this little circle. Looks like here we have like the automation follow option is over here now. We have a metronome, loop, punch in, punch out. Our regular options, as long as this is our DSP graph, and then this looks like some sort of maybe input source piece right here. Like this would monitor your input level, similar to like how you open like Cubase. There's like the transport bar always shows you like your incoming input of whatever mic's like auto routed. And then I saw here up in this top part, we'll get into this again, but you can actually customize your menu here. So if you want to add tracks here, you can add things or take away things you want up there as a shortcut. This is our regular things here. I think this mouse button stands for now the ability to, this is basically like in Bitwig how we have, can we adjust this a bit? So let's put this here. So in Bitwig, how up here we have these buttons. It looks like there's a drop down menu right here that will basically cover these buttons. We have our colors, all the same colors we like. We have our tracks, and looks like we can have separate tools now for the, so we have our editor, our like editor, MIDI editor / audio editor. It looks like there's separate tool functions now for the MIDI and audio editor. And again, the same controls, just moved, so they're not here anymore. They look like they've been moved down here. And then the velocity and such is down there. So they're on the bottom bar now. So a little more compact. I like that. We have this button here. This looks like some sort of follow button for the MIDI events that are separate from the playlist event. That is my guess on the situation. Okay, so let's continue. This is the mixer bar. The mixer bar looks the exact same. It is the exact same. Maybe we'll see something different here though. This screen I've never seen before in my life. Oh wait, no, maybe I have. So this is part of the new features they're adding. So like I said here, there's these little blocks. So yeah, I think this was kind of like what was going on before, where like you have your modulators section here. So now you can have like little blocks that kind of show like a visual preview of your modulator and what it's doing. And then you can actually click them, and it looks like it would open up something like the AHDSR. Looks like it might be attached to one of these two modulators, or this bottom one here, sorry. And then it'll open up a section for it, and then you can click each one, open up the sections, edit them individually, and then minimize them into these little squares. This kind of reminds me of this thing in Bitwig that I never ever use because I don't need it for any purpose, where you go here. This is what this looks to me, but this is remote controls editor, and this is panel mappings, so no. Okay, pay attention to this. This is amazing. There's crossfading now. So before in Bitwig, if you wanted to crossfade, you'd have to like have a track, and then say I have 2 separate vocal tracks or something, or whatever, and I want to crossfade them. I'm gonna have to do this. And then do this. Then like do separate volume automation. So like one goes like this, and then one. Come on. And then one goes like this or whatever, you know? Like, so like this is how I would have to do my crossfading, and then separately edit like any sort of like slopes or whatever. And that is like what I would think of crossfading. That's one of the things that kind of like bugs me when doing audios. So I'm hoping what also will come with this is quick fades out and in, which is something Cubase has, where I can just go like whoosh, and it quickly goes out, because I do not hate anything more than having like actual audio. One moment, please. Having like an actual audio clip and then having to come in here and spend basically way too long just to do that, because that would have taken me half a second to do in Cubase, and it took me a solid 5 to 10 to do it in Bitwig, and that's kind of frustrating, especially if you have to do it constantly. But yeah, it looks like, as I was saying, looks like there's crossfade. There's definitely crossfades. They said there was crossfades. And then I can see here in the MIDI break loop 01 at the start of 17 bars that there's basically, that's a complete fade in from what I can see. Like that, is that not? On the 1 2 3 hat L low pass or whatever that starts at 7 on the 3rd 4th track, and it's green. Oops. That to me looks like some really cool crossfading that you can't do easily in other DAWs. So haha, because in Cubase, pretend there's a line that comes straight down from this endpoint, and pretend there's a line that comes straight down from this endpoint. If I were to try to fade in and then fade out in Cubase, once these 2 vertical lines meet, they will stop, and I can no longer fade inwards or outwards from where that line was, because they meet each other and then that's it. I can't like move the fade out past the fade in and then like have some cool like funky slope that I've just made. Yeah, it has to be, they have to like hit each other and stop. They can't like do this. Here looks like they just do that, because I see a fade in that goes from start to end, and I see a fade out that goes from start to about halfway. So that's cool. They all look automatically curved, which is kind of like good. It adds more like accelerated rhythm to your, not rhythm, but like amplitude stuff to your music. But like hopefully that's optionable and changeable, and hopefully not too, I hope like the fading stuff is very nice and easy to clean. And it looks like if you look at the top now, the MIDI clips are not anymore just the entire audio thing, because like up here you see this wasted space. It's quite wasted. Looks like here there's no more wasted space. Looks like they actually have plans to have the quick fade options in here. So I'm hoping that there's some snapping options. See how this dotted line seems to be smack on here. I hope this has some sort of relation to this line, and there's a little bit of snapping here involved, such as like the line before is like, see how like it stops here but it stops at the next line. I don't know, we'll see, because this one doesn't have it. So who knows what that could be. Maybe that's just a loop marker. Actually, maybe I'm just being crazy. Probably just a loop marker. Oops. And yeah, okay, so let's go onwards. Signs in my face. So we have, oh cool, the blur looks nice and visually appealing. This is currently what blur looks like. This is why I never think about using it. It's just so ugly. it gets the job done, but like, why would you ever want to use that, you know? This on the option looks much nicer. We have Multiband FX. This looks so much nicer. Look at Multiband FX right now. Like, again, why would you ever want to use this? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. This looks like, sometimes I will do multiband compression, rarely. But like, if I'm going to do multiband compression, why would I ever do multiband compression? Like, because they're going to have to do this, right? And then be like, okay. And then drag. And then it's like, okay, I have to click on these different ones to look at the compressor. And then it's just like a totally visually unappealing thing. And it's just like, I'm sound engineer. And like, you really just don't like your life. And then now it looks like you can actually see frequencies, see your bands. Hopefully be able to change some threshold options and link them to this LMH, and then have these operate separately from the LMH volume on the bottom, and then be able to adjust this red L, and then that will change the compression settings based on what I want in the low end, and then similarly or for that or whatever. But this looks like it's going to be quite nice for these wanted features here. We have a note length that's helpful at points, but this is just polysynth. Polysynth has been completely redone and looks like it's been given a distortion built in. I'm concerned though, because I'm seeing that FX section there with the 3 squares in it, just like it has here. Like when I look at polysynth here and I add like something, I'm kind of I want to see those FX somehow on the side. I don't really want to have to open them and see a massive chain, you know? I want to see everything. There it is though. That looks like the 3 of them were opened right there. So, okay, maybe I'm just crazy, or maybe that's something else. They've added a crap ton new modulators. So we've got audio sidechain, 4 stair, macro 4. We don't have those right now. I don't believe we even have a key track. No. Wait, I can't spell. No, we don't. So there's a ton of new stuff coming, which is going to be exciting. Oh yeah, so this is showing him, or the person operating this computer, cycling through these things, and what they do have little previews. So this looks really cool. This is called organ. Okay, so this is already a thing we have, but this looks cool, like all these modulators. This is what the comb looks like now. That's cool. So maybe you can see phasing, like the phasing going on that like makes the comb. And then, oh, and that, sorry, I didn't point out, on the right, there's a spectrum analyzer. That's so cool, because this is like one step closer to just pushing Ableton out of the way for me, which is nice. Because like honestly, like there's no reason I want to use Ableton. I just really like Ableton for the multiband and like some of the visual aspects of the built-in stuff. It's really nice sometimes if you're trying to do things like if you want to do things simply and effectively, Ableton's nice for that. Bitwig is not, because there's like 0 audio support, like, or sorry, audio visual support, which just drives me nuts. And then here, EQ has, check this out, I see blue, I see orange, and I've used Bitwig forever. I know that means mid and side. So that is, again, super cool. I also see post and pre options for visual stuff, analyzing. So you can probably remove some stuff. So like you could have, if you don't want the analyzer to show you what you're doing, so you don't trick your ears, then it won't. Or if you do want it to, it will. Randomizer. There's a randomizer. That looks like a randomizer to me. That's also really cool. I love randomizers that are not square, like only square options. This is some vector options. What do we got here? Audio sidechain. So this looks really cool. What? This looks amazing. What's going on over here? Resonator bank. Okay, so that's separate from this audio sidechain. This audio sidechain, though, looks like to me you can target frequencies you want to sidechain, which is cool. So I'm hoping you can make some adjustments to the forward slope there. Maybe click on them, change them to like a shelf or a bell or something, and then do stuff. Or maybe they have to be like low pass. Even then, this opens up like really cool possibilities because like you could do a side chain now and roll off the high end a little bit and then not side chain that. Or if you want to do like reverb side chain, like side chain reverbs or whatever, you could use audio side chain to side chain a reverb, so you can have a lead go in front of it, and then you could just side chain the high end only. So that way the lead's physical presence takes up all the stereo fields high, and so that way the lead sounds more in front, which is cool because before you'd have to use something like well, you could do it, I mean, but you would use like dynamics EQ, and then you would use like have to attach an EQ to the tank or whatever. And then like this though looks like you can just do it really, really quick and simple, and just looks so nice. It's purple. Purple's like my favorite color. Again, this is more modulation stuff along with a separate note velocity modulator. Nice. And then check this out. See that? He just stretched that shit. You can stretch audio tracks. I've wanted that forever. Because sometimes I want everything to be this small, but I just want to fatten out my clips. I just want to see them like taller. It's nice. It's just nice sometimes. Now I have that option. Again, and I can crossfade. Look at this crossfading. Look at this. He's about to crossfade something in Bitwig. He just crossfaded something in Bitwig. And check this out. So like what it's going to do, presumably, is crossfade related to that audio. So I think that audio... So I don't know exactly how this is going to work. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about it, but it can crossfade. It might not work for some things. It might need to have audio, like for example, the second part of this Roder guitar might have audio that starts where he is right now, but he has cut it to where it is on the clip, right? So basically what I'm talking about is he has this audio, right? So say I have two of these. So if I have two of these like this and I try to crossfade, I can't see, like, how would that work? Like, how am I crossfading anything right now? But like, I guess what it could do is if it's on loop mode, it could just crossfade the start or the end of the audio. But I think, say, what has happened here is there's more of like a situation where there's some more data at the start, and then he goes here, and then he does this, and then he comes back and does the crossfade. So now it's going to crossfade the end, tail, and the start, or the previous audio data before. So that will be good for when you actually do your own vocal recordings or whatever, because then you have all this audio in front, or if you actually like use different sections of audio like that. Note echo, that's cool. So that's called basically note delay or whatever. Bitwig's just never had one of those. I don't know what this is. Is that the reverb? That's the reverb. So the reverb looks like ridiculously amazing now. We have Trem Monster, which looks like a tremolo. The reverb just looks amazing. Like, that's actually like the coolest reverb I've ever seen. Like, that's reverb, like FabFilter Pro R blew my mind completely with its like visual audio, like the visual aspect of it, like in a reverb, because I've just never seen a reverb like that, and now Bitwig has one. That's really cool. The accuracy of it could be questionable, like of any of the visual stuff from Bitwig, it could be accurate enough to a point where you can use it, and that's all that matters. It doesn't need to be super precise for regular use. Okay, that's probably actually just a synth. Never mind. But okay, that's nothing new then. It's just something else. VST3 support. That's cool. What are we looking at? Okay, here we are. So we can you can pin stuff here. As you can see, there's add group track, effect audio, add scene from playing clips, add scene. And check this out. This person's going to pin it. Wow, he's making his own menu. And that's it. This video is already long enough. I've said everything that there is to know about it. This video is probably pretty long, but thanks for watching, and I hope you're as excited as I am. I'm really hoping to see this next like month or two, so I can just like throw my money that I don't have at it. So that's exciting. Yeah. All right. Peace.